Well, hello. So now we're going to make our jam while the bread is rising, the bread dough. Here we have a lovely bowl, handmade too, by the way, full of local fruit. Well, actually, not quite sure about the plums. I know the peaches because they're from Francin's orchard just down the street, and they're lovely. They're dead ripe, so this is a perfect condition for jam. Because we have to have something to accompany that lovely bread when it comes out of the oven. I've washed these peaches because they have a peach fuzz, which is extremely irritating. If you were to eat this with a peach fuzz on it, you would have little prickles in your upper lip for a very long time. It wouldn't be lovely. Peaches and plums are all in the same family. These are cousins, as you know. I think somebody's hybridized them to combine them and make they've done. No, I guess that's apricots and plums, also in the same family. Pluots, nectarines with these two together. But I feel like the separate flavors blended together in a jam are absolutely luxurious. So I'm going to begin by not peeling the plums because, now let's see what the inside looks like. You never know. I always dream and wish that they have, oh, they're yellow on the inside. I was hoping they would be red, but you never know. Sometimes they're red. But the skin, and I suppose you really should do this on a cutting board, people, but I can't be bothered. It's one more thing to wash. Just cut it right off the pit, like so. So the history of these lovely fruit is really kind of fascinating. The origin of plums is in China, and actually peaches, and actually apricots, and actually so many of these stone fruits originate in Asia and have made their way across the continent through Russia. The Caucasus Mountains is a great ancient site for these fruits. And then, thank you, Mr. Caesar, he brought them to Europe. Probably the gentleman who went out and fought in the Crusades, encountered them. The Persians, the Iranians loved these, cultivated them as well. I think they went into formal cultivation about 500 AD. So they've been around a long time. So I'm not peeling these, am I? Because the peels of plums cook beautifully and they add to the color and to the flavor. Not so with our friends, the peaches. In this case, let's see if we can separate them. Oh, we can. So they're kind of what we call a freestone. Now, if you really want to be like the cookbooks say, you dip these in boiling water, and then the peels just peel right off for me. I'm pretty quick with a knife. I just peel it. You could probably do it with, yeah, look at that. Whoa, vegetable peeler. And then again, chunk, chunk, chunk in here. And, oh, that's a lovely aroma. Pull this pit out. There's so much good information on the internet. You see my little iPad back there. I reference everything. I love to know. I love to read encyclopedias. I read soup can labels, dictionaries, whatever. The family of fruit that this belongs to is huge. It includes coffee, which is why I have got to have a slurp to accompany this. Look at this nice one. See if it pulls apart. Not so easily. Oh, this might be one of those Alberta cling peaches. Kind of has a pinkish glow on the inside. Isn't that beautiful? So, all right, I'm going to continue peeling this. So, as you can see here, I have a lovely big pot full of fruit, mixed peaches, plums. May I introduce you to my pot? You'll probably see it very many times. I think I bought it used about 40 years ago. Baby's still going strong. It doesn't look too great, but neither do I, so it's all good. We're moving along. We're still very useful. So I've chopped the plums and peaches. The plums were sort of tart, the peaches extremely sweet and juicy. So I'm going to adjust my sugar. Now, I'm sorry I cannot give you cups and quarts, but I will use my melodic method here. Because this is kind of tart, I'm going to use this song. So that's how I measure for tart fruit. And it's really all you need to do. Give this a little stir. If you feel like letting it sit, the juices will release. And then you can start this on the stove without fear of scorching the bottom. And you've got to use a pot with a big, heavy, old bottom and non-reactive. This is cast iron enamel on the inside and outside. The Le Creuset pots are amazing. They last a lifetime or two. Or stainless steel is fine. Aluminum, no, ever with fruit. So I'm going to carry this over to my trusty old stove. I'm going to leave this here because I will taste shortly into the cooking process. And I'm going to say one thing about spoons. I have spoons for garlic and I have spoons for jam. And I don't mix the two, which is why I've got my 3 different crocks here. The crock on the right is for sauteing meat, vegetables. The one in the middle, I use a lot of garlicky things. The one all the way on the end, I use for fruit, sweet things, because you don't want to mix those flavors, and wood, I don't care how well you clean it, is absorbent. But I love it because it doesn't scratch my pot. This happens to be a hand-carved one, got at a craft show. Actually, so is the other one. Kind of like them. They're nice and long-handled, very sturdy, easy to hold. And we're going to let this get started, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Okay, so we had our sugar on here. Let it sit about 2 minutes, not even longer. And if you come over and take a look, Dick, if you can get this, there has got to be 3-4 cups of fruit juice already formed in here, which is amazing. And that's thanks to those amazing, very, very ripe peaches. I think the plums weren't quite as ripe as they could be, but still pretty nice. And the other part of this is you can use seconds, okay? And just cut out nothing needs to ever be thrown away or wasted. Seconds are great for this. In the day of Queen Victoria, a peach was considered such an absolute delicacy that a single gloriously gorgeous perfect peach was served in a linen napkin. And that was considered a deluxe dessert treat even. And I'm sure those wonderful arboretums in England and London were responsible for bringing the Queen her perfect peach. But for those of us who live in the normal realm, let's say we can go to the orchard or wherever we buy our fruit and buy seconds. Very cheap, a whole bushel basket full. So you have to peel, cut out a little brown spot here and there, and it's luxurious because it's at the peak of ripeness, which has developed all the flavors of the fruit, and sweet, sweet, sweet. So there we go. Now we're going to turn this, I've got the burner, this stove is magic, so it works really fast. You can see, I'm going to turn this way down low, and I'm going to let this simmer now for about, I'm going to say a half an hour, okay? And then I can go do something else. So very low, very slow, very gentle, and I will check and give it a stir from time to time. Okay. Well, now let's check and see what our fruit is doing. We have our peaches and plums. Look and see here. We've got a pot full of lovely juice. How I know it's ready for the next step, the peels have separated from the plums. So we have these nice peels, and look at the color. They are kind of our natural dye. So what I'm going to do, if you've got a immersion blender, I can say that, boom, 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 we can do that. If you don't, use a crusher to mash this. I'm going to crush this fruit a little bit. It's so soft and beautiful. This will not take away the texture. There will still be little pieces in here. Stir this around. But it will mix this very, very nicely. And of course, nothing has stuck to the bottom because we kept the temperature very low. This is how fruit butters are made too, FYI. But they're cooked way, way, way longer. And then spices are added. Apple butter in particular, pear butter with ginger, cinnamon, all those lovely nice things. There are some gourmet jams you can buy in specialty stores where once this process is done, they actually add a little brandy or some... Did I just unplug myself? I think I did, but I'm good anyway because it's finished. So take a look at this nice puree, and we still have a few lumps, which we can just kind of smash with our spoon because this is so absolutely tender. I'm going to wait to see now until it clarifies. That's going to be my clue that we're finished. So you see right now it still kind of looks like puree. So I know it's not ready. It's going to continue simmering beautifully here. The aroma is heaven. I know heaven will smell like this. Right now is a great time to pick berries. You can do the same thing with berries. No, it's not going to be hard like a gelatin when it's done. It will be a little bit runny. But I used to love when I was a kid to have my mother's bread, which kind of had some little holes in it. And we'd put a little butter on there or cream cheese, whatever, and then jam on top, and it would kind of pour out the bottom and to lick it off our fingers. Those are my memories, you know, of such a thing. So yeah, so I'm looking for any big pieces kind of like that, and all I have to do is now take them and mash them against the side of the pot and their history. Whoop, one more. Of course, my sister Angie always went after the chunks in the jam. She hoped Mommy would have forgotten some. We made a lot of damson plum, which is the quitch, as the Alsatian people would call it, German people. Les pruneaux in French. They were wonderful. The oval, very dark. Make a fantastic jam. Also, if you were alcoholically inclined, they made a wonderful eau de vie. The Slavic folks loved that. It was called Slivovitz or rakie, kind of like that. I never partook, except one time I did have a tummy ache or something, and I think I got a sugar cube with that stuff on it. Daddy made it. I'm sure it was illegal, but we're not going to tell. Since that was like 60 years ago, it's okay. Man, I got better really fast because I don't know, I felt like the devil had invaded my throat. It was hot. It was crazy. That was the first and last time I ever confessed to having a tummy ache. So as far as my mother was concerned, it was a cure. I also think I slept for 2 days. Okay, so I'm going to let this simmer and bubble. I'm going to check for sweetness. Perfect to me. I don't like it killer sweet. I like it to have a taste of fruit, and that bouquet that a fruit has, and not too much sugar. So we probably, if I had to guesstimate, used half as much sugar as fruit, rather than if you do some of the recipes, you use equal amounts or even more in some cases, but I use probably less than half. So here we go. We'll get back to this after it simmers a while and clarifies, and you'll see the difference, I think. Okay, the surface of the jam is glossy. It's ready. Turning off the burner. And I'm going to give it a little stir to make sure we have no floating fruit. Oh, look how thick. It's just wondrously thick. Yeah, and gorgeous. Oh, oops, still some little chunkies. I might leave them in case Angie comes, my sister, comes over. She loves the chunks. And here we go. This is very, very nice. Now, in the conventional method of jam making, folks like to can it, use sterilized jars, put on the lids. I am lazy. So, and I just freeze the things. I just put them in a nice, clean, dry jar that I've washed in the dishwasher and dried. So, here we go. And you can use any kind of a heat-proof vessel. Just like this. So, oh, doesn't that look nice? That gorgeous pink rose color. These are little bistro glasses. Kind of pretty. This is a French jelly jar. If, and one day, we shall make crepes together, because I promised Chris and Caitlin that I would do it, but only when they come over and they're going to play their violins for us. A lovely couple. So they love crepes, and they're going to come over, and we're going to make that. We're going to fill the crepes with this. So that's why it's very fruity and very lovely. We'll save this tall jar for that event. You see how the peels of the plums have pretty much disintegrated. They add so much flavor and color and that lovely tartness that we like. I never know how many jars or how much the yield is. That's why you have to be free, a little bit free. Don't be so constrained. You see how easy it is. It's a really no fail. You can top ice cream with this. My grandkids love it on waffles, pancakes. It's a little healthier alternative to just that syrup that you buy with all the additives. There's no additives in this. It's just purely wonderful. And we don't want to miss a single, some of the shows I watch, they leave half the stuff in the bowl, half the stuff in the pot. I'm not quite like that. I'm way too frugal. And must be the French in me. That every drop gets used. Because I was thinking that last little bite of toast, I just needed one more little spoon. And it went down the garbage. So I save every little, I use every little bit here. I think we shall have to do this the harder way. Ouch, it's hot. I have to use my old dirty hot mitts, well used. My two beloved students, Caitlin and Megan, I said, oh, I've got to wash my hot mitts before I do this. And they said, no, use things that you have in the kitchen. That way everybody else will feel comfortable too, that we have well-used hot mitts. So, and we do. Here, so we have just a little bit. Oh my goodness, that'll be just so nice for our toast when it comes out, or just our warm, fresh bread. And I've gotten every last delicious little scoop. Here we go. Beautiful. Ta-da!